Paltrocast. Well, Mike, how is your day going aside from doing media where you're answering the same questions over and over and over again about your new
Yeah, no,
album being successful and the tour being huge and all that kind of stuff?
no, it's going great. Thank you. Yourself?
Nonstop but good, and it's great to see another summer, another Jones Beach show of Stained. And I mean this in a good way. When I was a kid, used to joke about the Beach Boys were going to come back every summer, and now it's kind of like Stained. When did you kind of realize that it was going to be a good summer tour kind of band situation?
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, I'm just thankful we're back working. It seems like that's the time when, people go out and do these shows. So we've been fortunate enough to be on some really great tours the last couple of years and this year as well. Really looking forward to the one we have coming up with, Seether, and then with Breaking Ben and Daughtry later in the summer.
So the last time I saw you guys at Jones Beach, the new album wasn't out yet, and you opened up with Lowest in Me, and you go, or at least I went, that is a huge hit song right there. Did you know right away, hey, this is a staple song?
No, I mean, listen, you don't, you hope, you know what I mean? But no, I think you go, you make a record, and you kind of put your head down, you start working, and at the end of the day, you finish and you go back and listen, and everybody kind of gravitates towards some of the same songs from time, it seems. So that's always a good thing when that happens, and that was one of those songs everybody kind of gravitated towards.
To me, it's the perfect Stain song where if you're going down the checklist and you go, okay, sing along chorus, okay, Aaron screams a little bit, okay, there's the riff, there's the detuned bass. It really checks all the boxes. What did the demo sound like when you were working on the song originally compared to the end result?
It was funny. So this was one of the last songs that we did, and when I wrote the riff, it was slower. The Eric sped it up quite a bit, actually. So it was a much slower song. But other than that, um, it's pretty close. I mean, other than the tempo, I mean, it was pretty close to what I had written. That was the biggest thing that I remember coming about. We might have transposed the verse, but I'm not positive because we did that on a few songs where we had to figure out where Aaron's vocals, sat the best from what key. So, but yeah, I mean, other than the tempo, yeah, we sped it up.
When you're demoing songs that you've written, do you do a scratch vocal or a anything?
No,
Oh, really?
no, 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 no. I leave that for Aaron. I mean, really, what I do is I'll just come up with music that I like, that and when we were making this record, I was able to play him some of the ideas and find out what he liked, and take some notes that he gave and kind of make the changes, and able to really kind of take all that info and go back and kind of retool what needed changing.
Got it. So a tour like this, there's other big bands on the bill. You've toured with Daughtry before, Breaking Benjamin. I'm sure you've played 25 radio festivals with over the years at different points. But in a show like this, let's say you're on stage, I'm making up a number, 80 minutes, something like that. You have more than 80 minutes of charting singles. So it must be getting hard at this point to narrow down the set list where you play the songs that people want, keep yourself happy, and also fill the time responsibly.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, it's not too hard. I mean, like you said, I mean, we've been fortunate that we've had some, radio success, and there's songs that you do feel that you have to play, and there's new stuff that you want to play as well, and that actually, like Lowest to Me was did well at radio, Here and Now did. So you add those songs into the set, and then you kind of figure it out from there, and then other songs that you just kind of want to play. It's also in 9 days is the 25th anniversary of the release of Dysfunction. So, which is pretty crazy.
Time is flying. A lot of bands in your position would go, okay, so we have to allocate the 5 minutes to the All Star Jam. We bring up the opening act, and we have to allocate 7 minutes to the cover of this song that everyone sings together. Any of that coming up on the Stain tour?
I I don't know. I mean, some of that stuff is cool though, I will say. I mean, I think it's done because it's, it's fun. I mean, I always like to see, what songs other bands pick to play and, kind of always enjoy that moment, so I don't know. Uh we'll see what rehearsals hold and where we end up.
My favorite stall tactic, not that you ever asked that, is when you guys opened up for Corn and they brought you out mid set to go, "We have the loudest PA of anybody. We're going to show you." So Stained is playing. I didn't quite understand what the point of that was. Was that a costume change or a
It
breather kind of song?
it was actually kind of funny. Well, it came up. I mean, when we first came up as a band, and actually what really kind of got me started with, playing around with tunings a lot was Corn because we were playing cover songs along with always played originals, but and Corn was a band that I mean, we played a lot of their first record. We were always huge fans. So actually I remember even getting that tour and just being so stoked about being able to play with those guys. And still am. And we did that tour with them a couple of years ago, and it was just great. I'd go watch them every night, and I'm just a huge fan. So, um, but I think we mentioned to them that we used to play their songs, and Need to was one that we played, and they said, "Oh, why don't you guys go up and do it?" And yeah, they took a break and they wanted to go hear the PA because yeah, suppose it was the loudest PA or whatever it was. So it's funny that you remember that though. I mean, it was really cool to be able to go and do that and play for those guys and play one of their songs. It was fun.
I'm glad that was fun. I kind of filed that away for years as that is a weird excuse. That's along the line of the band knowing that they have the encore coming, but they're leaving the stage. It was kind of a breather, but hey, I stand corrected. And
Yeah.
back to you here. I mean, you don't just have Stained going on. San Ansonia happened. You had your little time in Newstead for what that was. You co-own a venue, etc. Has there been any period where you just sat back and did nothing for like 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the pandemic, I think everybody did, right? I mean, that was actually a nice part of that, just family time. Kids weren't in school, they were here, whatever that schooling ended up being, just bizarre, but that was that. But yeah, no, listen, I mean, honestly, it definitely gets some time for sure. So
Yeah, there's not a lot of gaps in your discography. If you're talking about like a Richie Blackmore, you go, okay, he hasn't done an album in 27 years or something like that. But you, even when your day job goes on hiatus, you found other stuff to keep busy with. And I think
yeah,
that's kind of an inspiring thing because a lot of artists, I don't know if they get lazy, but they go, why do I have to do this?
I don't know. I mean, listen, I enjoy playing. I mean, the Jason thing came up. I mean, it was an honor to play with him. I was, just always a huge fan of his and obviously Metallica's. And so, when I got a chance to go play with him, of course I jumped at it, and it worked out well. I love that time. And then I was kind of just working on something else with a bunch of songs I had, and that ended up turning into, writing songs with Adam and the Santa Sonia records that we've done. Um, you know, and they're out now with, actually they're on the tour that we're doing coming up as well. But Tavis is playing guitar with them. So he's being Art of Dying with those guys. So it's actually kind of like Art of Dying with Adam singing now, except called Saint Sonia, which is cool. And we played a show with them the end of our last tour, and it was great. So yeah, I love playing with Adam.
Something you mentioned before that you were doing Corn covers early on, and people who read their stuff know that Stain kind of started out doing covers, Tool, Alice in Chains, etc. Did
Yeah.
you ever have a point where you're going, I should have an all-star cover band? Because a lot of your peers seem to have had that hustle going on.
Well, it's funny, if you go, another thing that I've kind of done was uh through a friend of a friend, I met this production company and they were making VR videos. And we kind of started the VR session, and you can actually go on YouTube. There's a channel there, and there's actually some really great VR videos. And it's funny because Sean from Seether, who we're also, going out with, in a couple of weeks, was nice enough at the time. He came and we learned, well, that's what we did. I mean, it was Sean from Seether, it was Adam singing, it was Corey, and I had a really good friend of mine who's a great guitar player playing guitar. also. So it was a bunch of us, and we just kind of set up around a VR camp rig and just played a bunch of different cover songs. But we did do some Seether songs, and we did some Stain songs and Saint Asonia songs, but along with like I don't When Doves Cry to My Guitar Gently Weeps to Hunger Strike to like all these different, versions. And then we did one with Aaron where we did a version of Crawling, an acoustic version, which is really cool. And so that's up there too. So um and I loved that was so much fun playing. I just love playing like those acoustic. We did a version of Passenger by the Deftones acoustic that was really
Hmm.
cool. It's just fun to take those songs and kind of interpret them that way. And with
So
such great singers too. I mean, I love playing and doing that with Sean and Adam. It was a lot of fun.
you joked before when I asked if you demo vocals and you quickly gave a no. Were you never a singer in your
No,
musical journey?
no,
Is it the
no,
kind of thing where one person told you you were tone deaf and you went,
no.
I'm never.
Nobody had to tell me. I knew.
Wow, because a lot of people believe that anyone can match pitch if they try, but then other people just can't do two things at the same time and they don't
It,
want to.
it's honestly, listen, this is an excuse. I just have a terrible voice, but
Oh,
I always had really bad allergies. My nose and head is literally always like clogged. So
got it.
we'll use that as the excuse as why I suck as a singer.
Fine by me. Well, a couple of rock mysteries I wanted to clear up through you, and then I'll let you go.
Okay,
And the first one is I love the band Lit. I know Kevin from Lit, great guy. And I know that Lit was originally Stain, and
correct.
they gave up the name around when Stained formed. But was it a different band that had the name Stain that they gave it up for, or was it your band?
It was a different band. So, and this is a sore topic. There was a gentleman that had I think it was called the Stains, and the one thing he had done is trademark that. And he
Oh,
made his journey in life to go around and protect that trademark however he could. So those guys I think were sued by him. I believe Living Color was because they had an album called Stain. Um, and there was an agreement that was made between us and him when we got signed. And well, then when we became successful, he decided to come back and sue us also. So
sorry to
uh,
bring that up, but I mean, Skid Row, that happened. It kind of happens with a lot of great bands, yourself included. So,
thank you.
end of topic. And Kevin says you're a great dude and all that. But uh,
No, those guys are too, man. I haven't seen them in a while. I love those guys. I mean, but I thought it was the funniest thing because AJ has a stain tattooed across his stomach. I'm like, you're a huge fan. He spelled it wrong, but I mean,
it happens. Rockers
yeah.
do that. Next question. Is it true that your guitar tech was also Brian Young's guitar tech in his David Lee Roth tenure?
I'm not even. So I'm not sure because I have a new tech. The new tech that I have now has worked for a lot of people. So, but not any other one that I know of. So
Where
I
I was trying to go with that was the theory that you hired him because you could figure out all of Eddie Van Halen's tones because Dave always used replica players
Yeah, no, I mean that'd be pretty amazing. But I think Eddie Van Halen's tone came from Eddie Van Halen, a lot of it, for sure.
from the fingers. And then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing that I was trying to figure out is one of my obsessions when it comes to great bands is figuring out which territories they were huge in and then which territories they never toured. And it looks like Stained never toured Japan. Is that true?
No, it is true. Yeah, we've never been to Japan. Yeah, I mean we had an opportunity at one time and then it didn't work out, but no, we've never been there. There's a lot of places outside of the US. We spent a lot of time in the United States. Yeah, yeah.
The old stereotype was that the heavy bands do well in the UK and Germany, but then can't really do the Netherlands or Spain or France. Has that been the case for Stained?
Um, we just have, and we haven't been out of the country. I mean, since the last record. So I mean, it's been over 10 years. So, um, but yeah, when we played Spain, I know that, and we played the Netherlands, and we played France. And I don't know how true that is. I remember playing a show. We played with Linkin Park opening for them in Paris, and I remember it was just, well, I mean, those guys though could, wherever they went, it was enormous, right? So, yeah.
So then that ties in with the final question is, being that it's been a bit since going overseas, but everything got more expensive in those 10 plus years with touring overseas. Do you think that there will be overseas activity from Stained within the next few years?
I listen, for me, I'd love to see that. I mean, I do love going over there. I mean, the festivals are always great to play over there. A lot of fun, and we've had some really great shows over there in the past. So will that happen? I'm not sure. But I'd like to see it happen.
If not, the Mike All Star Band doing covers is available for all those bookings, correct?
Perfect.
Well, Mike, thank you for the decades of great art. Looking forward to the gig at Jones Beach. Looking forward to the next record, whether it's Stained, San Antonio, whatever it is. Keep up the greatness out there.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your support as always.
Paltrocast.